Welcome to Cost Saver Conversations. I'm Angela, and I ask the practical questions so you can quickly understand what matters. Today, I'm joined by Assad.
Hi, Angela. We are unpacking UK parcel delivery hidden costs, how to avoid paying 10 plus more than expected today, and tying it back to the wider cost saver ecosystem, including tools like UK Delivery Cost Checker, so you can turn insights into action quickly.
Just a heads up before we dive in, we are your synthetic hosts. We are great with numbers, but as AI, we can sometimes be confidently wrong. Think of us as the digital versions of your most knowledgeable, slightly caffeinated friends.
Exactly. Treat this chat as a smart estimate only, not as professional financial guidance. Always check important details with official sources or a qualified expert before making any big decisions.
Welcome back, everyone. Today, we are getting into something that I think has genuinely caught out almost every person listening at some point. We're talking about parcel delivery in the UK and those hidden costs that just appear out of nowhere. Assad, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Angela. And yeah, you're so right. It's one of those universal frustrations. You see a quote online for like a fiver, and then a week later your card statement says 1750, and you're just sitting there going, what happened?
1750 from 5 quid. I was gonna say, actually, no, I've absolutely been there myself. That initial quote is just, it's a hook, isn't it?
Almost always, yeah. I mean, the UK parcel market is massive, right? We're talking over 4 billion items shipped a year. But the way prices are quoted just hasn't caught up with how complicated shipping actually is now. That first number you see is basically the best-case scenario. Anything that makes your parcel slightly non-standard, its size, where it's going, even the time of year, that's when the surcharges start piling on.
So it's not just me being paranoid. Ofcom actually found that nearly a third of parcel senders had some kind of problem with their delivery, and unexpected fees kept coming up as a complaint, which is kind of a lot.
Yeah, and the really frustrating part is these fees aren't like front and center. They're buried in a 40-page tariff PDF, or they just show up as a post-shipment adjustment on your card statement weeks later, by which point you're just.
Wait, they can actually add charges on after you've already paid and the parcel's gone?
They can, yeah.
Oh, I honestly thought once you'd paid, that was it. That's actually kind of shocking.
Right? Which is why, and this is something I tell everyone, screenshot the quote page at the moment you book. If a surge turns up later that wasn't disclosed, that screenshot is honestly your strongest piece of evidence if you want to dispute it.
That's such a simple tip, but so good. Okay, so let's get into it. You talk about the big 6 hidden costs. What are we looking at?
So the main ones. Number one, volumetric weight charges, then remote area and offshore surcharges, fuel surcharges, manual handling and oversize fees, failed delivery and redelivery charges, and then customs, VAT, and brokerage fees for cross-border stuff. The difference between a £5 quote and a £30 bill almost always lives somewhere in that list.
Okay, volumetric weight. I've heard of this, but it always sounds like a math trick to me. How does it actually work?
It kind of is a math trick. So couriers don't just charge by how heavy your parcel is, they charge by whichever is greater, the actual weight or the volumetric weight. And volumetric weight is based on the size of the box, because a big, light parcel takes up the same van space as a small, heavy one. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's about the space, not just the weight.
Exactly. So the standard UK formula is length times width times height in centimeters divided by 5,000. Some couriers use 4,000 or 6,000, which is annoying, but 5,000 is the common one. So like a shoebox size parcel, 40 by 30 by 30 centimeters, that gives you 36,000 divided by 5,000, which is 7.2 kilogram volumetric. Even if the actual contents weigh 1 kilo, you're billed as if it's 7.2 kilograms.
7 times more just because of the box?
Yep, and here's the thing. Couriers remeasure in their depots. If your declared dimensions are off by even a couple of centimeters, they slap on an automatic adjustment fee, typically 3 to 12 quid per parcel, plus the higher rate, so you get hit twice.
That's brutal. So what do you actually do about it?
Smallest box that genuinely fits the item, minimal padding overhang, avoid those bubble wrap balloons that push the sides out. Measure including any bulges, not the flat pack dimensions. And for soft goods like clothing, vacuum bags or poly bags almost always beat boxes. Oh, and double check your courier-specific divisor because Royal Mail, DPD, Every, FedEx, they don't all use the same one.
Right, right. Okay, so volumetric weight is a big one. What about remote area surcharges? Because, UK delivery sounds like it should just be one price across the country.
You'd think so, but no. Couriers have these long lists of postcodes classed as remote, offshore, extended, Scottish Highlands and Islands, Northern Ireland, Isle of Man, Channel Islands, Scilly Isles, and parcels going there carry surcharges of anywhere from 3 to 25 pounds per item,
25 quid just for a different postcode?
just for a different postcode. And the really sneaky part is some couriers don't show this at the quote stage at all. You book at the standard rate, the parcel ships, and then a zone adjustment just appears on your invoice afterwards. If you sell on eBay or Etsy with free postage built into your price, this can quietly destroy your margins on every Highlands order.
Oh, that's really not fair. And I know Northern Ireland has been complicated since Brexit, too.
Yeah, so Northern Ireland is part of the UK, obviously, but post-Brexit, a lot of couriers treat it as a separate shipping zone with extra paperwork and fees. If you're sending business goods there, you need to check whether the Windsor Framework's Green Lane applies to your parcel before you book. It's just one of those things, you know?
It's a lot to keep track of. Okay, fuel surcharges. I'm guessing those bounce around.
They really do. Almost every major courier, DHL, FedEx, UPS, DPD, applies a monthly fuel surcharge that floats with diesel prices. It's expressed as a percentage on top of your base rate, and in recent years it's swung between roughly 8 and 28%.
That's a massive range.
It is. On a 6-pound parcel, that's an extra 50 pence to a pound 70, which, okay, fine. But on a 30-pound international shipment, it can easily add another 8 quid. And for business accounts, the base rate you see quoted often doesn't include it.
So you have to specifically ask, is the fuel surcharge included?
Exactly. Consumer-facing brokers usually bake it in, but if you're on a business account or using a comparison site, you really need to check whether the price is all in or X surcharges. Otherwise, you're flying blind.
Okay, manual handling. This one I sort of get intuitively. If it's a weird shape, it's gonna cost more.
Right. Couriers run use highly automated sorting hubs. Anything that can't go down a conveyor, long items, awkward shapes, parcels without proper labeling, anything over a certain weight or length threshold, it gets pulled aside for manual handling. And that triggers a fee of often 10 to 25 pounds per parcel, sometimes more.
Wait, really? So a poster tube, even if it's really light,
Could cost more to ship than a 15-kilo box. Yeah. A rigid 100-centimeter tube might feel like nothing, but the manual handling surcharge can make it more expensive than something much heavier. Common triggers are length over 120 centimeters, weight over 30 kilos, cylindrical shapes, parcels with dangling straps, or just insufficient packaging that needs relabeling.
fair enough. So the fix?
Packed to the courier's published dimensions, not just what fits. And actually, here's a tip. If you regularly ship long or awkward items, ask your courier for a non-conveyable rate card. Some will quote a fixed surcharge of 6 to 8 quid instead of the standard 15 plus if you commit to a minimum monthly volume.
Oh, that's actually useful. Okay, so we've covered 4. Failed deliveries. I can already feel the frustration building.
Yeah, this one really stings. If the recipient isn't in, doesn't answer, or the address is wrong, you can be charged for the failed attempt and again for redelivery or return to sender. Fees range from about £2 to 15 per attempt.
And address corrections?
Oh, those are particularly expensive. If you've typed the wrong postcode and the driver has to reroute, expect an address correction fee of around 10 to 14 pounds, regardless of whether the parcel eventually arrived.
10 to 14 quid for a typo. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, which is why for business shipments especially, Always validate addresses through Royal Mail's Path Lookup or your courier's API before booking. A 10-second postcode check can save you £14. Across hundreds of parcels, that's real money.
And then the last one, customs and brokerage fees. I imagine this has got a lot worse since Brexit.
It has, yeah. Even small parcels going from Great Britain to the EU or to Northern Ireland under certain rules can attract customs duties, import VAT, and a brokerage fee from the courier for processing the paperwork. Brokerage fees alone are usually £8 to £15 per parcel.
Per parcel.
Per parcel. And here's the really painful bit. The recipient is normally billed for these on delivery, which means your customer gets this unexpected demand and they often just refuse the parcel, which leaves you paying for the return as well.
Ah, that is a nightmare scenario if you're running a small business.
Totally. If you sell internationally, look into Delivered Duty Paid Services, DDP, or iOS registration for low-value EU sales. And honestly, just put clear warnings on your website about local taxes before people buy. Saves everyone the headache.
So I know you've got a brilliant real-world example that kind of ties all of this together. The candle lady?
Yeah, Sarah. So Sarah runs a small candle business from Glasgow. She's shipping a 2-kilo gift box, 35 by 25 by 20 centimeters, to a customer in Stornoway. Picks the cheapest quote on a comparison site, $4.99.
$4.99. Sounds great.
Sounds perfect. Except here's what actually lands on her invoice. The base rate, $4.99. Then a volumetric reweigh. The box calculates to 3.5 kilo volumetric, which bumps her into the 5 kilo bracket, extra £2.10. Then the Highlands and Islands surcharge for the HS postcode, $12.50.
$12.50 just for the postcode?
Yep. Then fuel surcharge at 14% adds $2.74. And then, this one kills me, a paper invoice fee of £2 because she didn't opt into e-invoicing. Final total, £24.33.
From $4.99 to $24.33. That's almost 5 times the headline price.
Almost 5 times. And none of those were like dishonest charges in a legal sense. They're all in the courier's tariff document somewhere. But Sarah never saw any of them at booking. And if she's selling candles with free shipping built in, that one order to Stornoway could wipe out the profit on like 5 mainland orders.
Honestly, that's scary if you're a small business. Okay, so what if someone's already been caught out? What can they actually do?
So if a surcharge was applied that wasn't disclosed up front, you've got grounds to dispute it. Couriers operate under the Consumer Rights Act 2015 and the Consumer Protection from Unfair Trading Regulations 2008. Both require material costs to be disclosed before purchase.
Go on.
So gather your evidence, booking screenshots, original quote, the actual invoice, a copy of their published tariff. Contact customer service in writing, email, not phone, and quote the specific charge. Reference the Consumer Rights Act and ask for a written explanation of when the fee was disclosed. If they refuse, escalate to their formal complaints process. They have to respond within 8 weeks.
And if they still won't budge?
After 8 weeks, or if they send you a deadlock letter, you can go to the Postal Redress Service, POSTRs, for free independent arbitration if your courier's a member. And for credit card payments over £100, Section 75 might apply, so contact your bank about a chargeback.
Oh, that's actually reassuring. And quick thing, disputing a surcharge doesn't affect your credit file or anything like that.
No, not at all. Courier disputes are commercial billing issues, not credit accounts. And honestly, most couriers refund quietly when challenged in writing because the cost of arbitration is way higher than the disputed fee. They'd rather just make it go away.
Good to know they'll fold. Okay, so before we wrap up, choosing the right courier in the first place. Any quick guidance on that?
Yeah, so not every courier is cheapest for every parcel, which sounds obvious, but people forget. Rough Guide, under 2 kilos, small box, Royal Mail Tract 48 or Every. 2 to 10 kilos, standard box, you're looking at Every, Yodel, or DPD. Over 10 kilos or large dimensions, Parcel Force, DPD, or DHL. Time-critical next-day stuff, DPD or Royal Mail Special Delivery.
International EU, DHL, FedEx, or specialist DDP brokers. And for Northern Ireland and the Highlands, check Parcel Force, Royal Mail, and specialist regional couriers because the surcharges vary wildly between them.
Wildly. That's the word. Okay, Assad, can you give us like the quick checklist, the things to do before every single shipment?
Sure. So measure the packed parcel, not the empty box. Round up by a centimeter on each side. Weigh it on calibrated digital scales, not bathroom scales. Calculate volumetric weight using your courier's actual divisor. Check the destination postcode against their remote area list. Ask whether the quoted price includes the current fuel surcharge. Confirm whether VAT is shown or added at checkout. Validate the recipient address with a postcode lookup. Set up e-invoicing to dodge those paper fees. For international parcels, decide upfront whether you or the recipient pays duties.
No, that was perfect. So basically, measure everything twice, check the small print, and never assume the first price you see is the final one.
That's it. Pack tight, measure twice, validate the address, check the postcode. Do that consistently and you'll save tens of pounds a month on personal parcels and potentially thousands a year if you're running a small shop. It's just about knowing where to look.
Brilliant. Assad, thank you so much for breaking all of this down. It's one of those topics that feels overwhelming until someone just walks you through it, you know?
My pleasure, Angela. Honestly, once you know the rules, it's not that bad. You've just got to look before you click book.
Love it. All right, everyone, that's it for today. Go measure your boxes properly and stop giving the couriers your money for free. We'll see you next time. Quick side note, this guide connects with other cost-saver blogs, especially council tax bans and how to challenge an overpayment, costs landlords face under MEES and Energy Performance Certificate C rules, and planning a wedding budget that doesn't blow up.
Exactly. And reading those together helps you connect the dots across your household budget, not just this one topic in isolation.
And if you want to apply this immediately, jump into tools like UK Delivery Cost Checker right after this episode.
Primary sources used here include Ofcom, Annual Monitoring Report on the Postal Market, and Citizens Advice, so you can verify the data yourself and stay evidence-led.
That wraps this cost-saver conversation with Angela and Assad. If this helped, share it with someone who could put these ideas to work this week.
Your next step is simple. Try UK Delivery Cost Checker, then read council tax bans and how to challenge an overpayment, and use them together to take action today.
Your next step is simple. Try UK Delivery Cost Checker, then read council tax bans and how to challenge an overpayment, and use them together to take action today.